Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo all day, back with another video, and in this video I'll be showing you my build guide for Thor. This guide is for showing you the build I use for me to pass Cosmic Trial without using full maxed out Omegas. I'll be showing you the uniques, artifacts, legendary, medallion, as well as the power points where I place them, Omegas where I place them, and synergies, and at the very end I'll be showing you my rotation as far as how I play with Thor. So let's get right into it. So first, let's just get into the uniques. All the uniques I use all of Thor's, so you don't have to get any special rare uniques. Just get his uniques, these right here, and you'll be good to go. Regarding his items on top here, we got the Ultra Medallion. We got this one because of the energy damage. You gain 2 spirit when you hit, and +1 energy, and mainly all of this entire medallion is for energy attacks, which is basically my build's energy. Then I use Mayhem Demon Blood for artifact because it gives you 2+ fighting for the health and energy damage rating. I use Scroll Nyx Fury's Eye Patch for the defense rating, health, and damage rating to bosses. I used Hand of Doom. You don't have to bless it, but if you could, perfect. If not, no worries. But I used a blessed Hand of Doom for the brutal damage, critical hit rating, and damage rating. And also too, there's a 3% chance that you can cause 5,000 energy damage when you hit. And then I use Ultram by level concussion projector for the brutal damage rating. And then for the ring, I use Industrial City Signet energy, obviously because his build is energy, and plus it gives you critical damage and health as well too. And then obviously for the costume I used critical damage, and for the core I used one that gave me 400 health when you hit, and that's basically it. And obviously damage, 142 damage rating to melee powers. Not the best costume core, but I mainly use just for that to gain 400 health when you hit. Now for the insignia I use Wonder Man for the brutal damage rating and 1300 defense rating, and also for the little other procs it has in it too. Not mainly for the procs, but just for the brutal damage and the defense rating. And then for the pets I use Ultron Silver, doesn't really matter, but it got plus 3% total dodge rating, gain 2 spirit when you hit with the basic power, plus 2% energy damage, base energy damage, +1 to ultimate power, and +2 energy. And then for the forged I use 800 defense. I use one that gave me 200 damage rating, energy damage rating, and +200 for range powers. And last but not least, a legendary I use Gungnir for the critical hit rating and so forth. So again, very simple, not the most rarest items. Probably the most rare is Hand of Doom, specifically that it's blessed, but other than that everything else is pretty easily to obtain. Now let's just show you my PowerPoints where I placed them. Again, left to right, top to bottom. None here. I'm not using any of these. I did add one here for Thunderous Charge. That's his movement. I use that one a lot. Rolling Thunder, I maxed that out. Son of Odin, I use it for the passive, but I also use it for the active, and I'll show you how I use that. Bring the Thunder, max that out. Yggdrasil's Boon, max that out for the passive. Nothing there. Here, okay. Crack of the Sky, max that out. It's a very good one. It's powerful. Anti-Force, max that out too, obviously because it's signature. Added 4 here for Asgardian Smite. It's a very good one. Lightning Hammer, max that out. And for Asgard, max that out as well.
Here.
Max that out as well too. That's really it for Omegas. His build is pretty simple, but I mean for PowerPoints it's pretty simple. Now for Omegas, again, I use roughly around 3,000 give or take. So let's get it started. Where I placed them. Neural enhancement, none. Arcane attunement, I did 3 for Doom's Mystic Armor for the energy attack damage. Interstellar Exploration, 1 for Earth for the base damage. Special weapons, I placed him 1 for Vanquish Sniper Rifle, 1 for Assault Rifle, and 1 for Tactical Pistol, because it gives you extra damage when you're either close range, minimum range, and also extra base damage to range attacks. Focus Plasma Cannon for his needle gun, and Night Pistol, 1 on each one. Again, it's just for, since his build is range, so these gives you extra damage to range attacks, so you definitely want to utilize it, especially Fury's Needle Gun. That reduces the cost for range powers. He does use up a lot of spirit, so just keep that in mind. Mutation, 3 for Warpath, because again for the fighting, and then 4 for Sunfire for the extra energy damage. Radioactive Oranges, none. Nanotechnology, 1 for Spintech for the damage to bosses. Human Augmentation, none. Psionics, 2 for Melt Phase for that brutal damage. And then for Molecular Adjustments, I did 5 for Anti-Genesis, because it gives you the energy of fixes. And then Exogenesis, I did 2 there for the extra base energy and energy defense. Neural Enhancement, and that's it. For Hero Synergy, I did Blade for health on any hit, and for the attack speed, Cable for the critical chance, Captain Marvel for the energy, Doctor Doom for the plus 5% or 10% for signature power, Human Torch for the area damage, because he does use a lot of area, Iron Man for the range and energy, Star-Lord for the energy, and Vision for the range and damage to machines, and last but not least, War Machine for 2 more. War Machine for the 10 spirit and fighting attribute, and then Wolverine for the brutal strike chance and brutal damage rating. That's pretty good. And that's it. He's fairly simple to build. He's strong as is. You don't have to worry about too much. But that is my build. So let me show you my rotation, how I play with them. He's fairly simple to play with. You do have to bounce around here. I'm saying because I use this Guardian Smite number 2, so you'll see me use that a lot. I move around. So yeah, let me show you my game style. Now for my team up, I use Better Ray Bill. You can use maybe Deadpool, but I use Better Ray Bill because he uses basically similar attacks and they're very strong. So how I use his attacks is this. Rolling Thunder is really good because what it does is it not only is a range, but it continually does damage, and shoot very important because I'll show you what I mean. You see that right there? It does damage throughout the whole section. So when you're doing Cosmic Trial, you definitely want to do that because you have to do a lot of area and a lot of range. So what I usually do is use this a lot. Because if there's any enemies in between here, it just does a lot of damage. That's what I use. And then I use Bring the Thunder. It's just does damage one more time. See? Now for his Crack the Sky, I don't really use it that much, but if I'm doing individual, like I'm doing damage to one specific enemy, I'll be perfect. But the way you get a lot of damage with him is like this. When you use Son of Odin, it not only does it replenish some spirit, but also it fills up Odin's force. Now, you want to have this full before you utilize for Asgard, because when you use this full, it increases your damage of attacks. Now, what for Asgard does, it's a buff that gives you extra damage rating, critical damage rating, and with this, you can definitely do a lot of damage, especially when you use it with signature. So my rotation is like this. When I know I'm going to use for Asgard and signature, what I usually do is kind of build them up a little bit by using his Thunderous Charge, and you notice it builds up the Odin's force. So I move. Once it's closed, I use Son of Odin for Asgard, signature, Lightning Hammer, and then I just do Asgardian Smite. It's kind of a lot, but if you do this combination, it definitely does a huge amount of damage. So again, build it up, and then after that use Son of Odin, and then right after that for Asgard, Anti-Force, Lightning Hammer, and then Asgardian Smite. So it looks something like this. see that? And then when you do that, again, it builds up your Odin's Force, which gives you extra damage. And then when you use this buff, it gives even more damage. And when you use a signature, you're just basically doing massive damage. And when you use Lightning Hammer, it just does so much more damage. And same thing with this too. This is area. So it's like you're just basically stacking up extra damage. So that's usually what I do. And when it comes to ultimate, I do the same thing. But what I do is, instead of doing this whole entire rotation, when it comes to ultimate, I use Build Up. I do Son of Odin for Asgard, signature, and then I just do ultimate right after. That way I still have this buff, a little bit of this, and combine that with the ultimate power. It's just going to do massive damage. When I did the Cosmic Trial, unfortunately my team up was in the way, so I couldn't really do too much damage on my Red Skull. But I'm telling you, if you do, Son of Odin to replenish Odin Force for Asgard, signature, and ultimate right after, you're going to do massive damage, which is going to help you, pass Cosmic Trial. And that's really it. That's really my rotation. That's just move. And then, if I could, after that, just do Rolling Thunder, and then do Bring the Thunder. And then, so let's just say you're playing it and all these are cooldown. What do? I just keep using Rolling Thunder. And then Bring the Thunder, I usually once or twice. And then again, and that's really it. I mean, that's really his build. Is probably one of the easiest characters to play with. You just have to get used to this whole Odin Force and building that up, and that's really it. But I will say this though, he is spirit. He does use up a lot of spirit, but keep that in mind. So that's why we see my video in Cosmic Trial, I'm kind of like wandering around a little bit, because I'm trying to replenish some spirit. So keep that in mind. If you can get a custom core that replenishes your spirit when using Medikit, that'll be the best one. But for right now, I use this. It did the job. But that's really it. Again, just use Son of Odin for Asgard, signature, Lightning Hammer, Asgardian Smite, and then just do Rolling Thunder or Bring the Thunder, and just do a lot of damage. You just keep doing that. And that's my rotation. Or sometimes you can switch it up too. If I don't want to do this whole thing, I just use Asgardian Smite just to kind of do area damage, and just do Rolling Thunder, something like this. See, and that's really it. And that is my build guide for Thor. He's pretty strong and pretty darn powerful, but it's all you have to do with him. And again, you don't have to use these artifacts. I used different artifacts before, and I still managed to pass it. So if you have Doom of hand, and if it's blessed, it's going to be easier. But if you don't, you have something else, make sure it's either range or energy based. Alright, and that is my build. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thanks.